I remember my mom taking me to see Michael Jackson.
Oh man, you saw Michael?
I saw Michael Jackson at a very young age.
You probably
I've had a blessed childhood.
you
Like
probably saw him on the Bad tour.
Yeah.
Shout out Al Heyman. You
Yeah.
probably saw him on the Bad tour.
I remember the tickets was like $300. We went in the limo, and I was a kid.
Okay, so now I'm just about to ask from a kid perspective, and as a guilty kid, what was seeing Michael Jackson live at like the peak of Michael Jackson is like?
I mean, it was dope. You know, like at that time, I probably didn't cherish like
The experience.
their
'cause you was a
experience
kid.
to
Yeah, yeah.
to now be like, yeah, I got a chance to see Michael Jackson. You know, that was my mental today.
All right, we are back in full effect in Detroit is Different podcast studios, and we keeping things rolling with creatives. And you know, creatives when it comes to hip hop, my favorite art form. And we think about what's happening with hip hop as we're watching like generations of hip hop artists get into things just outside of being in the booth and rapping on stages. Filmmaking is heavy, especially in the city of Detroit. And being creative with this in this same expression as we're seeing like what was on paper in 16 bar formats coming to life in motion, and you're watching it. We watched the whole movement of what's happening in Tubi, Amazon Prime, and then even like other spaces, just direct to video, even the premieres. It's like a whole industry right now existing. And in a lot of ways, I think between me and you, it's Detroit hip hop holding this down. When we talk Detroit hip hop, we're definitely talking to one of the legends in it, Steet Lord Rook, Mr. Ried. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. How about yourself?
Oh man, everything is cool. Everything is cool. So, thanks for being in effect on Detroit is Different. Rocky Harris gave a call. I'm like, yeah, you know, Detroit is Different is a forum for everybody. And you have a new project coming, but before we get into like the projects and film and the music, we're gonna start this off usual Detroit is Different style. Detroit and your family. What led your family and your people to the city of Detroit?
Honestly, I don't know. My family was all here. Then, like my whole family was in Detroit. My mama, daddy, grandma, grandparents, they all was in Detroit. So I don't really know of no other city where my family was from. You know, I don't really know. We all been in Detroit my whole life. You know, since I haven't been to a family reunion where it'd be like, oh, we going to Tennessee or we going to Alabama or Mississippi. Everybody been here, so you know, Detroit pretty much what I know. That's like my upbringing, where I'm from. Everything that I've done pretty much started or revolved around Detroit.
Okay, so neighborhoods. You just spoke out fam that's like in my neighborhood. You was like, yo, it's just like so what neighborhood?
I went to grade school. I'm from like Plymouth Evergreen area. You know, they'd be like P-Rock. I'm from that area, but I got family lived all over West Side, East Side. You know, like right where we at now, I got an auntie who stayed on Pasadena and 14th.
Wow.
I got some family that lived on Boston. You know, I got family all around the city. Like,
okay, so as a kid,
suburbs.
As a kid, being able to travel, because that's unique. Because most, as we know, the classic Detroit thing is like if you're from the East Side, you usually stay east. If you west, you stay west. If you're from downriver, you stay downriver. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So like. Did you even think, when did you know that was a little different, that your fam was across the city?
Real young, like very young. I had a cousin that stayed on Burns on the east side, and we'd go over there and we'd have fun on the east side. And then My mom had a friend that stayed on Pasadena Highland Park off Woodward. She'd take me over there, you know. Mm-hmm. So I've always kind of bounced around and had friends all over. So
okay. And you said P Rock was what you remember in that corridor. What I think of Detroit communities as like high school. So that's like the Cody.
Yep.
Rouge area.
Yeah, that's for sure. I graduated from Cody. I went to Horseman Elementary. I went to Lessinger Middle School. I graduated from Cody. I went to Cass like 9th grade. So yeah, that's my hood.
Okay, so that Cody neighborhood definitely automatically brings me to Rouge stories, because Rouge is like a different for people that aren't from Detroit, because I know it's some of you guys that listen and check this out. Rouge Park almost feels like, in some ways, it's like National Park. It's just like you got horses, you got a creek. Now they got that big farm with D-Town Farms. And then, like, you got a strip where people just, like, you know, bang music and play music. Like, it's a lot going on in Rouge, you know. Yeah. And then people tell you stuff. It's like, oh, man, you know, the old guys out there playing chess. And it's like, you know, the best horseshoe games in the city of Detroit is over in Rouge Park. Like, it's a different experience going on over there.
Man, you know, I grew up over there, so I remember going swimming, walking to go swimming at Rouge Park and jumping off. Second deck was like the big thing when I was a kid. And then, you know, down Dre Road, they got the RC airplanes that used to come out where people would fly their radio control airplanes. That always went on. You know, they got the driving range, but golf course. So, yeah, it's like a west side, a little smaller Bel Air, because it go down over there. You know, that'd be the hangout. Like, I ride through there still today every so often. Like, I own some property in the area. But, you know, when I'm going through there, I might cut through Ridge every now and then, because I'm going to see. It's never a time that I haven't cut through there where I haven't seen some friends from high school or some friends from the neighborhood. Still, that's like a place where people frequently attend.
And it's a lot of attention kind of starting in that neighborhood now when we think about, like, some of this redevelopment. When we think of land that's available in the city of Detroit. When you see the differences and then some of these ideas, have you been hearing about some of these plans of, like, different organizations wanting to activate that space, activate places over there? What does that bring to mind?
I'm not really too familiar with it, but it's a nice neighborhood. You know, it's good people over there, you know, so to see anything going on in the community that could uplift the community is always great to me. You know, I think that's dope. I think if we put more into our community and police our community where, like, the police know the people in the community, it would be less police gun violence against inner city youth and inner city people, you know. So I think anything that's community-based is super dope. And I think we need to get more of that going on where it's a more friendlier environment. Like, just, to me, it's my personal opinion, if the police know the people in the community, it's going to be less stuff, because you'll know, like, oh, that's DeAndre, that's Miss Johnson's son or grandson. And the police officer will be less likely to get into a serious
back and forth.
Yeah, because, like, oh, man, I know your family, I know everything about you.
And that effort, it's going to be some projects, and I would definitely hope, when I think about I think about that Western Precinct. What's funny is, like, when I think of the police station over there, I just think of starters across the street for the most part, you know. And just that, even that footprint, like I say, that community is a heck of an asset for the West Side, and then it's a different feel to me, because families. A lot of the families that are over there that I know of have been there for generations too.
That's correct. I know a lot of people still live over there since I was a kid. I don't know how the precinct things work, but I remember that it used to be the 6th precinct. It's not called the 6th precinct over there anymore.
It could still be. I know it's one of the Western. I guess I should say one of the Western precinct. It could still be the 6th precinct.
Yeah, I remember they had the crazy incident where the guy went in there and did the shooting at that particular precinct, but. Yeah, I mean,
it's an asset. So, like, outside of that breakdown, you spoke about Cody, but now it kind of gets right into in that rapping. I definitely have to say that. When did you start? When did you start hip hop? When did that start? I'm guessing it had to have started somewhere in that middle school, high school journey.
Man, hip hop, like I grew up at. I grew up on Plymouth and Evergreen. It was Damon's Records right there. You know what I'm saying? So I remember going to Damon's Records, buying candy and music from being a very little kid. I bought the Fat Boys record. I had the Run DMC record, so I might be telling my age, but I've been into music since a very young age. I live with my grandmother because my mom, she was hustling in and out of prison. My grandmother, she kind of let me just grow up. It wasn't really a lot of curfews and rules. She just kind of let me be a boy. So, like, I remember having, like, a 2 Live Crew CD.
Wow.
At a very young age.
Yeah.
And listening to Too Short and Ice-T at a very young age. I remember I let a friend of mine dub my 2 Live Crew, "Hey, we want some pussy."
Mm-hmm. He probably got in trouble.
He got a whooping. I remember his mother, like, I actually just seen him.
What is this?
I actually just seen him on a movie set. We were shooting a movie, and he just so happened to walk down the street from his house. My childhood friend, I don't want to put him on blast on the podcast, but he know his mother whooped him about the 2 Live Crew CD. But, like, I grew up on 2 Live Crew, Too Short, Ice-T. I had Ice-T first tape, you know what I'm saying, with 6 in the morning, police at my door.
Yeah.
So I've been into music for a very long time. My mother, she was a hustler. She years ago she did a Sir Mix-a-Lot concert at the State Theater when she brought Sir Mix-a-Lot to Detroit with my posse on Broadway came out, and Prince Vincent, Awesome Dre, and a few other Detroit acts performed. So I've been around
me or something.
Yeah, so I've been around
music for a minute,
a very long time.
So let's talk a little bit about your mom, like being into, like, you know, hustling a bit, but also entrepreneurial, and obviously that had to have had a connection in like where things were. What was you know what I'm saying? Like when you're a kid and then your mom come home and say, "Yo, I'm about to produce this rap show." Like, I can only imagine what that was like.
It kind of didn't go like that, but it was like, man, my mom was probably different. You know what I'm saying? We had a different relationship. We had a different bond. I remember being in like the 3rd grade, and my mother coming to me, asking me, if I sold drugs, would you be mad? And I was, I remember crying, like, "No, mommy, don't sell drugs. Like, that's bad. I don't care about having nice clothes, nice shoes. Just don't sell drugs because you could go to jail or get killed," because that's how I was programmed. And then, unbeknownst to me at the time, she was already hustling. So when she had a company, she had an office in the David Whitney building. And so when they started producing the shows, it was just like, oh,
this is expanding what she's already into.
This is what she's doing. But I didn't see the day-to-day of
what
of her hustling. I didn't see the day-to-day, and I didn't see the day-to-day of her setting up the business. I just, like, we got a limo, it's time to go to the show. I remember going to the State Theater and them picking out the State Theater, and I remember a guy who worked for her who was contacting the acts and so on and so forth. So, and when it happened, I remember being there. But I was never able to see her sell drugs at that time. Like later on, after that, you know, I learned my mom was addicted to drugs, and I wound up going to, I've probably been to every drug treatment facility in Detroit, from Share House to all of the drug rehabilitation things that they had going on, from NA meetings to AA meetings. I've been through them all, you know, so I've seen it up close and personal, where today I don't smoke or drink. So I've been exposed to the good and bad. Like, yeah, when I was younger, I didn't see a lot of drugs, but I saw a lot of money. Like, it would be like a lot of money around, but not a lot of drugs. But then I seen drug usage as I got older, where her addiction probably was showing more, where she went to prison. I lived with my grandmother, and so on and so forth. Like,
so that's heavy. And I'm still like, as we pivot, and it was funny, we were at an event for recovery, and for those that are struggling with recovery and everything, it's a day-to-day step, but it's some of the boldest and most courageous actions, especially like in communities like ours. Like, even when you spoke about alcohol, because alcohol is so accessible. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And what that means in healing through that. But I'm thinking, like, your first concert was a concert your mom produced. That's
like
like, that's got to be like something different. Like, to have backstage pays attached to your first concert and be in effect and watch it. You know.
Yeah, I can't say that was
hip hop in a different way.
I can't say that was the first concert that I went to, because I remember my mom taking me to see Michael Jackson.
Oh man, you saw Michael?
I saw Michael Jackson at a very young age.
You probably
I've had a blessed childhood. Like,
you probably saw him on the Bad tour.
Yeah.
Shout out Al Heyman.
Yeah.
You probably saw him on the Bad tour.
I remember the tickets was like $300. We went in the limo, and that was, man, I was a kid.
Okay, so now I'm just about to ask from a kid perspective, and as a guilty kid, what was seeing Michael Jackson live at like the peak of Michael Jackson is like?
I mean, it was dope. You know, like, at that time, I probably didn't cherish like
the experience.
To now be like, yeah, I say I got a chance to see Michael Jackson. You know, that was monumental today.
Yep.
But going through it, it was just like, Mom taking me to a concert. She's taking,
it was Saturday. He was hanging out with Mom, but then it was going to see Michael.
I remember her taking me to a Salt and Pepper concert. I can't remember who Salt and Pepper was in town with, but I remember Salt and Pepper doing Push It. I remember talking to Curtis Blow years ago. We were supposed to go to a Curtis Blow concert. So I've had like a
music experiences
because
for a while.
Like, my stepdad, he knew the guy Ralph Cooper, who started the Apollo Theater. So I've been backstage at the Apollo at a very young age. I met Mike Tyson before he was the champ. I met Keith Sweat before he was
Keith Sweat.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say before he was Keith Sweat, because he's probably always Keith Sweat, but
before he
made those big hit records.
Make It Last Forever.
Keith Sweat. So I've had a very dope childhood as a kid. I've had a lot of negativity, like from both parents going to jail. Like, my dad went to federal prison a couple times, but I've been able to live a very blessed life and meet a lot of different people throughout my experiences, the good and the bad. You know,
so music. During this time, when did it click that from fan to I'm about to do it myself?
My cousins, like my cousin O, who rapping the Steet Lords, and Blade Icewood. He was not calling himself Blade Icewood at the time. And Jesse James, and they had went and made a record. The record was called "We Foolin' in This Bitch." That was like one of the first Steet Lord records. And just my competitive drive, like, oh, if they can make a record, I can make a record. So then I started going to the studio with them, and they would let me get on
the song here.
Yeah, so they were far more into it than me at the time. And it's just grown, and I've gotten better. Like, when I go back and listen to my Steet Lord raps,
do you think, like, I could have did something a little bit better right there?
Yeah, now, you know, I mean, I'm far more comfortable making records today than I was then. But making records today from then is totally different. Like, we were paying like $300 an hour for studio time. And we were recording on 2-inch reels, where it's far more expensive than today's recording on Pro Tools and making music. It's just a different time, a different experience. But, it's been a growth. It was a learning process. So,
what was it in that creative process? Because really just getting into the mind of like writing songs and finding that pace. What was it about it? Did you like the performing? Did you like the writing? Did you like the studio more? What did you appreciate most?
I think the Street Lords had like this competitive vibe. Like everybody wanted to have the best verse, so it brought out the best in everyone. Where when people were writing their verses and putting their verses together, that it was a competitiveness to come up with the best words and lyrics and the coolest things to say. So, I just wanted mine to be the best or the dopest,
So the writing was something that you really appreciated. Okay.
Yeah, I'm competitive. Like I played sports my whole life, and I'm just competitive. I'm competitive today. I want to win, want to be successful. So the competitive drive keeps me going and keeps me wanting to get better, and that's what everything. Being a better dad, being a better friend, being a better businessman. So
all of it is leveling up.
Yeah, it's about being a better person, being a better man all the way around.
So what Rook just spoke of, for people that don't know, that have never been in the studio with rappers, it can get competitive. When rappers are rapping together, sometimes it's a cipher and freestyling, but actually even, which leads me to definitely wonder the beef between Cannabis and LL Cool J, the whole, like, did anybody ever change a verse? Because rappers, this is like real rap nerd stuff right now. So changing a verse would be like, me and Rook on a song, I hear his verse and I'm like, wait, I'm about to go back. I'm about to go back and change
that happens all the time. Like that definitely happens all the time. Yeah. For sure. Like, oh wait, he said that. Like, hold on, I got.
But that sometimes can be known as like, it's not like rap commandments, but that's one of them. That's like,
everybody wants to have the best verse. The hardest lyrics. Like that's still goes on today. Sometimes I think people take rap too serious. Like it's really just entertainment. Like,
it definitely is.
I mean, if we left some of the just looked at it as entertainment, probably be a lot less killings and violence pertaining to rap.
And you can definitely speak to that. I think I don't want to go so far into this because I mean you probably spoke on this so much and you get talked about it so much, and that's one thing, at least right now, in this renaissance of some of the younger Detroit MCs, that seem to be a lot more collaborative.
Yeah, it's a lot more togetherness today than years before. But I don't know. I really can't. I don't know if I can say
in
that.
In some ways.
The reason I'll say, I mean, if you go back and listen, and I don't want to dive into this because
it's a lot.
But if you go listen to the first Eastside Chedda Boys CD, it's a collaborative effort. It's a lot of Street Lords on their first CD.
Definitely.
But I wish all those guys the best. I don't know what they're doing. I don't really keep up, but I wish them the best.
Yeah. And with,
it's unfortunate what happened to Blade and what happened to White Out. So.
Yeah, and I mean, dealing with that, and then the thing, even like when I think of Tupac and Biggie, even and Blade and Wipeout, like so young, like at the time, it's like, damn, you that young, you know what I'm saying? That's the
it's still going. Like, I think it's more our community than just those guys. Cause in every community, we can go find some rappers who was slain, from Soulja Slim to the guy Trouble, who was just
Young
recently.
Dolph.
Young Dolph, Nipsey. So it's like our culture.
Our culture does have a level, one that more known.
It has a level of jealousy that's probably like no other. Because when people become successful, everybody not happy that you're successful all the time.
I want you to expound on that.
Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Like, Nipsey Hussle, he's a successful guy. He in the community. He repping his community. And they said he called the individual a snitch. To me, that's nothing to kill somebody over.
No.
But in society, the gentleman who killed him, he thought it was enough. So there had to be some jealousy there, some animosity there at that moment. But let's say Nipsey called him a snitch. Normally, when somebody tells, that's what you're labeled. You know you told when you signed to testify or agreed to cooperate. What most people don't know, that stuff is public information. So if you're cooperating and you snitch, it's going to be people in the community that know, because normally if you snitch, it's going to be you're telling on somebody who you were at once friends with or doing business with. So, but everybody not always happy for you. Like in all situations, people be wanting to be in a person's shoes a lot more than they want to be happy with him. Like I think in a Young Dolph situation, that same kid who's got arrested for killing him, he was in the video with him.
Yeah.
So I'm sure on that video said he wanted to be Young Dolph at that time.
Now, as you also talk about that success, it's unique because you are a part of something that will go down in my mind like the arc of Detroit hip hop history. Like you're just being in the Street Lords. You know what I'm saying? That like puts you in an arc of like where the reputation can precede itself. Like I think of the arcs of Detroit rap. I think like from street rap, I think Detroit's Most Wanted, you know what I'm saying, and Dice. Then I think Street Lords, and then I guess you could say the Chedda Boys, and I think Rock Bottom just being in his neighborhood. Yeah. And now I think, just the new arc of guys, you know what I'm saying, like Team Eastside and what, and then I guess it's younger now with 42 Doug and those guys. But in that arc, you have a reputation that precedes. So when we talk about success and people being jealous, how much of it is like most times like we're even misunderstanding, everything in your life, what you deal with, how things go. Because you walked in, I'm guessing for the past, 15 to 20 years, you walk in most rooms, people know you're walking in with a reputation and these people don't even know you.
Sure, yeah, that's for sure. How I view it and look at it, like, it's dope that people know me and they recognize me for what we did and that. I think that's super dope. But when we were doing it, we didn't think we would be called legends. We were just young men trying to do something great, trying to figure out a way to get out. We was hustling and making money. For me, though, and this is just me, I don't know how everybody else feels. I can only speak for me. I don't feel I've reached where I'm trying to go. So
I got you.
For someone to be saying I'm a legend or what I did was legendary, it's more like, well, where do you see what I'm about to do? Like, I just sold drugs. Like, yeah, granted, we made millions of dollars selling drugs and we made rap music. But me as a person, as a businessman and where I'm trying to go, I haven't scratched the surface of what I'm setting out to do. So I don't feel like I've reached my potential or the level of success that I want, that my competitive drive is trying to get to. So I don't feel like I've done anything.
So that's deep. So even with that reputation, and now it's people that are jealous of where you at. And you still have the hunger inside to do so much more.
Yeah.
So, and in this so much more, that's a great transition and pivot right to filmmaking.
Sure.
What was it that's like, I'm going to get into this discipline?
To be honest, I made a film like 20 years ago. So you can say like, I've been doing that. I spent $2 million before going to federal prison on making a movie called Envy with Ray J, Lisa Ray, the rapper AZ, and Chico DeBarge. So I've been on this.
In this space.
Yeah, I've been in this space. Like, and I probably understand business and passive income probably a little different than a lot of people. I understand movies last 30 years. Like, if you think about it, Minister Society was just, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but I know I just recently watched it on Netflix.
I think it's still there now, yeah.
Minister Society came out 30 years ago.
Yep.
And it's still, somebody getting a check. Still to this day, somebody's getting a check. So I want to create something and create classics where in 30 years from now, I'll still be getting a check or my kids will still be getting a check. Because movie, music, royalties, they last hundreds of years. Like, I was blessed to be have knowledge of this because my stepdad, he owned the rights as a kid for the James Brown song "It's a Man's World." So we would get a check, a publishing check, every 90 days. And I remember Zeno Cologne licensed it for $1 million when I was very young. The same people who did Cool Water. I don't know if people remember those colognes. Cool Water. They were colognes back in the day. They were popular. So I remember going to the guy. It was called Claire Mike's Publishing because his name was Clarence Jackson. And it had like a publishing deal with like Warner Chappell would pay him and so on and so forth. So I knew about publishing and I learned that at a very, very young age. I don't think my stepdad really could read because I would read all the contracts at a very young age. He'd be like, read this to me. And I would read it to him and he'd be like, so what you think that say? And I would kind of tell him what I thought based on my knowledge, even though I wasn't an attorney or business man, I was a kid. But I was exposed to know that James Brown created something. I can't remember the lady's name. I want to say her name was Betty Davis or Betty. It was Betty something who wrote the record. I don't know how my stepdad was able to obtain some of the publishing, but I do know we used to get a publishing check.
Wow.
And then my stepdad went to federal prison, and my brother wound up selling it to my stepbrother. Wound up selling the rights to the song back to Warner Chappell. So I've been exposed to that.
So that's unique that onboarding process at a young age. So it's like you soaking up game.
Yeah,
of things like you picking up things that most people don't know. A lot of artists themselves are unaware of some of how the functions of how that works, the mechanical licensing. So now we're getting back into, as you all know, we sometimes talk about this, the mechanical licensing. So you publish something and then you license it for usage, if you kind of can follow it. And movies and films are something like that. They can last, like you say, generations.
That's correct.
So your films that you're working on now, Chedda Boys, that's coming.
That's coming.
But so let's talk a little bit about that. That's coming June 24th. You can check out the premiere.
Yeah. Premiere
at effect.
Premiere's at Bel Air Cinema, June 24th. Tickets on sale now. You can go on Eventbrite, search Chedda Boy Films, Chedda Boy the movie premiere. They're $40. So I look forward to having a great turnout, great event. Have some stars come out, participate, take pictures, give the public something positive. It's all about doing something positive at this point in life. I've done enough negative, put a lot of negative in the air and energy in the community. So right now I'm trying to do something positive. The movie is based about choices and decision making. So how I look at it, if I give people some tools about making better choices and decisions, maybe I can lead some people to make better decisions so they can have a better life for themselves where they won't end up in jail or in a grave or something of that nature. So that's what I'm on. I have a movie that's out already. It's called One More Flip. Dope project. Been streaming, went viral quite a few times.
Okay.
Stars me.
Streaming, where at?
It's streaming on Amazon and Tubi right now. So It stars me, Mina Monroe, Sada Baby, Payroll, guy named Chris Collins, Elizabeth Fox, Tanya. Can't think of Tanya's last name, but Tanya's in the movie.
Okay.
Tristan. I can't think of Tristan's last name.
I know Tristan. Fazekas. That's one of my homies.
Fazekas, yeah.
That's one of my homies. You can't forget that, Fazekas.
Diesel, Trick's brother. It was a dope cast. A lot of people came out. They said we did better. We sold out the Imagine and Royal Oak. Like every theater. So
congratulations.
They said we did better than Avengers. So that was a little dope thing. So we just trying to keep it going. As a filmmaker, film producer, I'm trying to tell urban stories from our point of view. I've been blessed where I'm in a position to tell the story how I want to tell it, or the director how I want to tell it.
I think that's why it's so much, even though I know I've talked to a lot of people, they're like, no, call them independent films, not Detroit films. But it is a genre of independent films from Detroit that are gaining international attention right now.
That is correct.
As I think the stories being told kind of match more of like what you said, like from a perspective how we tell it. Not necessarily saying the Hollywood stories aren't of a black experience, but it'll sometimes be some stuff that happens in a Hollywood movie where you like, I don't know if...
I think they'd be like a little watered down because in business, the person who puts up the money normally has the last say so.
Yeah.
So the person in these urban projects that has the last say so is the culture, the people of the culture that are putting up the money. Like me as myself. Like, so I'm able to say, I'm from that environment. I'm from the hood. I've sold drugs. I've been a part of shootouts. I've been a part of all different negative things. And I've seen people got shot. I have friends that's been killed. So I kind of can tell the story from a real life, realistic, like this really happened point of view. And by being independent and doing it all myself, I'm able to look at the analytics where I can see it's people in South Africa watching this movie. There's people in the UK. It's people in Germany. It's people in Canada. It's people all over the world that's tuning in that like what we're doing. So I definitely don't say I'm a Detroit filmmaker because I make film for the world. I get a lot of people from all over that comes to me and comment from every state in America and different countries that
are connecting with your work.
That like what we're doing.
So in filmmaking, just from the filmmakers I know, like you wear a lot of hats in filmmaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Because first off, you need the film itself. So you need a project that can be written. Then after a project is written for most people, just so that you all know the arc of this, because my sister's into it and other people I know, after it's written comes to, okay, now someone needs to produce this. The executive producer steps in, usually puts down money, but then you need other producers to step in and like logistically bring to life whatever this is. You can't just say, walk in a bar. That's what you see on the script, and then the person walks in the bar. You got to coordinate what bar to get, when you can get the bar.
How long you gonna need the bar?
Yeah, how long you gonna need the bar. The camera team, the camera people got to go in there and say, okay, well, if we're going to use this bar, we're going to need this type of lighting and this type of sound gaffing, and we're going to need draping and what's they call that? Like the pipe and draping, the block this side of the window. Like it becomes so much more deep than just, like a lot of people say, hey, you can just pull out a camera phone and start. No, it's so much more deep than that.
It's a lot more work that goes into it. But
so with it, and wearing all these hats, and then casting, then also directing, then after it's directed, it must be edited.
Yes.
And then if you have music in it, you definitely got to clear all the music and then the sound. And then, okay, also, this is another thing in movie that most people don't know. The sound is like 2 levels of sound in movies. So like if I break some glass in the movie, that's recorded there, but then you have another sound tech to come in with the sound effect for the glass breaking, which is all sound of these design. Steps in the process. How do you project manage? Like, how did you take on like project managing all these different groups of folks coming together all focused on like one mission?
It's a team effort. Like I won't never say it's all me. Like I have a team. Shout out Ronnie Kirk. Shout out Jeff Brown. Shout out Stan. Shout out Todd. Everybody. It's so many people worked on One More Flip. It's a whole new, not a total new batch on Chedda Boys, but I have like 6 films done right now. And I'm shooting one. I'm casting for one in a few weeks. So we're just staying busy, but it's not just me. Like I'm not saying I'm Superman and I can do all of this. No, it's a team. There's no iron team. Everybody's putting forth their best effort. We're always looking to hire great workers who are willing to come in and work with us, because right now we don't have the budgets to make blockbuster Hollywood pictures, but I think we're very competitive with the pictures we're making.
Yeah.
And I think we're making a mark where Hollywood is going to take notice of filmmakers in Detroit, because if you look at Tubi is like a umpteen $1 billion company.
Yeah.
And there's supported by a lot of urban
independent filmmakers. So, but even getting into this, because when you're the filmmaker, a lot of that EP, it's like you're kind of also the person shaping to life either with your own money or getting investment to the project. What is the dance? And then also, I mean, as much as money is an asset, time is an asset too. So it's like, I assume you're
I haven't been able to. I haven't had any investors on any of the projects.
Wow, all of this has been independent from you.
Yeah, I've been. I mean, I have other businesses that I've been successful in. Like I own physical therapy clinics that I've been successful in. So I've made money in physical therapy that allowed me to
invest in this,
to pursue my dreams and do something different. As for other filmmakers, I don't know, but I can honestly tell you now that I have a film out, I've gotten several offers, several people trying to give me hundreds of thousands to produce projects and do projects. So,
so if it's out of your own pocket, that even makes it more of a. You definitely are in that chair where you're making decisions on teaming, staffing, what this is going to look like. You know, paying the cost to be the boss, as they say, as another James Brown song. That's an interesting position.
You know, I'm in all the decision making, so everything that pretty much goes on sets, from people's staff's pays to marketing the films to, I'm there. You know, I know about it like the back of my hand, but I mean, I also have people who.
So you empower the team to make the decision, but you're still present as the decisions are being made.
Yeah, that's for sure. 100% for sure.
Okay. And so how are you balancing just the life of Mr. Ried and family and the other business? Like, how do you do the balance of that?
My family life is probably not where I want it to be 1,000% honest. I mean, we just work it out as a team, because like when you're trying to build something, you got to put a lot of hours in it. So I'm trying to build a great company. So I put a lot of time into it. I believe you get out what you put in. That's what I teach my kids, like no matter what it is. I'm blessed. I'm not married, but I have a girlfriend. So she's probably not happy with the long hours on set some days, you know. My kids are not probably always happy, but my kids have been to set.
How do they respond to being present and seeing their dad in that creative space?
Each kid is different, and the older kids, and like I'll say the older kids, when I probably was doing it at first, before they was able to see the finished project, they probably like, man, you need to just go on and sit down and just keep doing
Get back in the studio and do the physical
therapy. I'll be honest, like my kids are probably like my toughest critics. They probably wish I didn't do it, and then they were so young when we were popular from the street stuff and the rap stuff that they probably don't value it. But then when their friends' parents or their friends like, oh, your dad's such and such, they're like, dang, Dad, like you really are who.
I said,
like, but
legend, man.
to them, I'm just their dad, you know, like.
Yeah.
They don't really care about that. They ain't thinking about like their dad is a street legend, a rap legend. They more like
you go to the Piston game, you in the party and you on the jumbotron. They just looking at you like, Dad.
Yeah,
Can I get $100 out?
Yeah, they're different. So, but at the One More Flip premiere, they probably start respecting it a little more. Like they come on set, but coming on set seeing these cameras, they don't really know what's going on. So when they've seen the finished product, they're like, "Oh, that was good." Like, yeah, I'm proud of you. Like, I really like that. I enjoyed that. So that's a dope feeling because I know like my kids, they like probably the toughest critics. They brutally honest. They would just probably rather me just be a business owner and that's it.
Do you see any of them kind of picking up anything in filmmaking themselves? Like, do you see some of the niche like moving around, like somebody staring a little bit more? Like, yeah, you want to maybe get behind this camera.
Not right now. I've like my oldest, like my kids. I'm truly blessed. Like as a dad, as a co-parent with other parents, because I'm not married. My kids' mother, they've done fine jobs. You know, I got 4 kids. Well, I have 5 kids, 4 biologically, but the 5th one, she's not biologically my kid, but she's really my kid. Like I've raised her 25 years. Yeah. She has a son now. That's my grandson.
Wow.
She graduated from Michigan State.
Oh man.
So I'm blessed. You know, she did her thing. I got another daughter who just recently graduated from Michigan State.
Congratulations.
Last month.
Okay.
I got a daughter who go to Stanford right now. She about to be a junior at Stanford. So I'm blessed. Now I got 2 little kids. They both all A's. It's not all me. Hats off to their moms. Even though we had our moments where we don't get along, we not in agreement with one another all the time, but we've found a way to figure it out and
grow that
and develop great children.
You spoke to, and this has been a theme that I sometimes feel like when you're when you're building a vision bigger than what's in front of you, it's gonna definitely take time and effort that you may not necessarily feel you have. So in that balance, as you say, like you're building something that's going to be a success, as you say, reaching the success. You got the hunger still in you. How are you speaking with family, friends, and like you're foregoing on like some of the things that I'm sure a lot of other people, especially at your level, that you've had successes, you know, you have a successful business, but that hunger's still in you. Like, how are you interacting with the everybody else to be like, yo, I'm gonna be on set possibly from like 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock at night?
I mean, people like some don't get it. You know, they just don't get it. Like, I mean, it's work, man. Like, you get out what you put in. Like, it's either you're gonna make the sacrifice or you're not. Like, to me, whatever it is that you want to be great at, you got to put the work in. Like, if you want to be a good student, you got to study. Like, that's facts. Like, if you don't study, you ain't going to get no good grades. If you want to be a good drug dealer, you got to keep hustling. You got to cop and save your money and cop more and keep copping more till you able to get to a certain level where you comfortable. Because if it was easy, everybody was doing it. So to be a great filmmaker, I got to put the time in. Like, no matter what you do, it's work. To be a great basketball player, you got to be at the court regularly, putting in the time. You get out what you put in. It may not happen when you want it, but you got to put it in. Somebody who runs an investment banking firm, they put a lot of time in the numbers and researching companies and different things to become a good investment company. It doesn't happen without putting the work in. So
and it's a lot of people that sometimes won't understand that. That's why I'm saying, like, you know, if you're, as you said that, yeah, some people just won't understand. But they'll be family. They'll be like a friend. It's like, you can't come over here and watch the NBA finals right now. And it's like,
man, but it's like, in the real world, in the grand scheme of things, everybody said they want to be successful. I don't know, not one person who said they don't want to be successful or they don't want to be great. But how you tell if they really want to be great is they really putting the work in to be great. If you don't see them putting the work in, like, I was at a barbershop yesterday and they were having a discussion. I thought it was a really dope at my Homeboy Barbershop on Joy Road at Imani's, man. Shout out to those guys, man. They were bringing up young men, making them more accountable for their actions, and they was asking the young men about being accountable and just giving them life lessons. But these are all people of the community, from ex-felons to barbers to businessmen. You know, barbershop, everybody goes in. And there was a young man in there, and they were asking him different things. But so I asked him, like, what do you want to be in life? He was like, I just want to make it out the hood. So I asked the gentleman to be a little more specific. Can you be a little more specific? Because what does that mean? I want to make it out the hood. You can drive 8 miles up the road and you'll be out the hood. But so at first he wasn't grasping. So I was like, what does your career look like? What do you want to do in life? So he blurts out, I want to be in the medical field. Like, be more specific. And he yells out, I want to be an anesthesiologist. I was like, okay. So I was like, how's your grades? He's like, man, he's straightforward. Like, man, they fucked up. So my response is, oh, you don't want to be an anesthesiologist? You think somebody gonna let you give you some medicine and put them to sleep, and you got bad grades? You gonna kill somebody? Like, you don't want to be an anesthesiologist. I can tell you that because you're not putting the work in right now to be an anesthesiologist. You're not getting into med school with bad grades. So let's start holding people accountable at a very young age. Like, those are some of the things I think need to be said and done. So I thought it was a dope experience. I was proud of the guys at the barbershop. Like,
everybody watching that, just you telling that story, naturally gonna say, how did he respond?
He was like, yeah, I got to start being more accountable. Because what I thought was dope, he didn't know the definition of accountability, but one of the gentlemen had brought the word up. And the man was telling him about when he was 16, how he had a baby at a young age. So it transformed into another one of the guys who was there. He's a community activist. He was like, if you don't know what the word means, it's okay. Everybody in here don't know everything. We all in here still learning. He's like, but bro, you got a phone. Google it. Look it up. So you can know what's going on. Don't be ashamed to say you don't know something. Because they were in the barbershop saying, like, man, it's like we bombarding them. And the community activist, he is a returning citizen from prison. He's like, they're going to be bombarding him when he's sitting on the bench, about to send his ass to jail. They're going to be bombarding him, too, with a bunch of questions. So if he feel overwhelmed right now, that's fine. Hopefully some of it stick with him, where he don't go down that path where he getting bombarded with the type of stuff where he gonna lose his freedom. So it was a real dope environment. I was proud of the gentleman who was taking time out to help some young men in the community. I was proud to see it because I honestly was just going into the barbershop to get a line up. And it was the barber, me and the barber go back. We've been in class. We were classmates since first grade. We both from the neighborhood. We still keep in touch. He's doing a fine job in the community. He has other businesses. So it was dope to walk in on that. And it was like, oh, yeah, it's still good in the community. We need more stuff like this. So.
That's deep. That's deep. And, like, even the pivot point, like, even before this interview, you walked up, you met Keith Bennett for years with Flip the Script. And some of that, just talking game, like, it's unique to those moments that you talk about what that is, being accountable. And in my mind, I call it the economic term of opportunity costs. For every opportunity you take, it's going to cost you these opportunities you don't. And a lot of that opportunity costs in entrepreneurship, I believe we put in often. I often echo, with my father, my grandfather, my mother, like so many entrepreneurs being around, like it was more normalized, that I could do this. But some people don't have an idea like what you say, where it's like I saw my father work like for real 14 hours. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like if you don't have a premise of that and you're thinking, 9 to 5, I'm going to get off at 5 o'clock. I'm just going to turn my phone off. It's the weekend. I'm not going to do anything. Yeah. You know, your movie not coming out. Or it's not coming out probably with the terms and the...
Yeah, for sure. I have those conversations with a lot of... like, we're programmed. And we're programmed by what we see. A person who probably both parents work at the plant. Let's say dad's a plant worker, mom's a nurse. The odds of those children from their offspring being entrepreneur probably soon. Because in the household, they've seen go to work, go to work, go to work, go to work. Those parents have kind of programmed their kids to get jobs. And it's nothing wrong with that, but that's just how it is, you know.
And more than the job, it's to feel a level of security from a paycheck. I've never liked jobs.
Yeah, I never
and even
had a
the
job.
project, I'm working now. I'm raising $25,000, and I'm like $2,500 into it, and it's like we're gonna still figure this out. But sometimes, you know, it was Mark Wahlberg. I don't know if he made this up or I don't know if he made it or he heard it, but I heard it from him of like, if your dreams are set at the level of the amount of money and resources you have, then you're never going to get beyond where you think you are. So it's like, if we don't have a vision of, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if your vision for films isn't Marvel Studios, man, you'll never get to Marvel. You know what I'm saying? If you just limit, and then furthermore, when you get to Marvel Studios, it's going to become Marvel Universe. And when you get to Marvel Universe, it's going to become Marvel Galaxy. It's like it continues.
It keeps growing.
Yes.
Like, I tell people that now. The people who work with me, they probably get sick of me saying it because I'll be like, Disney is not better than us right now. They just have a bigger bank than us. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, every film company, a record company, is just a bank. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. We call it Disney. We call it Universal. But really, it's just a bank. A bank that finances projects that invest in artists or film. Once we get enough money building our brand slowly but surely, we're going to be able to do the same thing on the same level. They just had a head start. Yeah. We're no different. A lot of times, those larger companies come buy us out or give us some money that we never seen, so we don't even pursue being Disney because all it is a bank.
And that kind of shifts me back a little bit to, and now I'm thinking you may have been more involved in this with the music. You all had a record store.
Yeah.
Which was so, and I know you guys are listening like, huh, what, nah, why? Because I've never, the only other artist that thought like that I know of was, surprisingly, this is going back to James Brown, because James Brown had his radio station, his record store, his public, like, but it was such a weird pivot to be like, damn, they got their own record store. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't even know why that's so shocking to think that an artist actually with a point of sale offering is rare. But y'all were thinking from that perspective then that made it so different than everybody else. Because everybody else is relying on like the system, the machine, and we got to get in the system and in the machine to offer whatever our product is.
Man, this is the key thing to being successful, being great in anything. Just believing in yourself. If you believe you can do it, you can do it. Along the way, it's going to be a lot of people who say you can't do it or this and that. But if you believe, it'll happen. Just keep working. Just keep going. That's all you got to do, man. It really might sound arrogant, but it's simple, man. Just believe in yourself, stay consistent, and keep going. That win out with anything. Anything. Just keep going. Don't accept the rejection. Just keep going.
That's deep.
Most of the time, people don't like whatever you're doing at first. They see it. Other people start liking it. The more and more people start liking it, then everybody starts, oh, yeah, that's it. But there's very few people that's going to jump on the bandwagon in the beginning. Just keep going. There's so many stories about how people failed in the beginning that kept going. Imagine if Michael Jordan would have gave up basketball when he got cut from his high school team. Mm-hmm. Or imagine if Walt Disney would have stopped working on this stuff when people was like, man, there's no place in showbiz for that. Mm-hmm. Keep going. That's it.
You made it simple. You made it simple as we get to the end. So now I'm going to just give you the classic. Remember, Chedda Boys premiere June 24th at the Bel Air Cinema. Be in effect. It's on Eventbrite. I'm going to put that in the lower third. So check it. Support it. I'm going to be in effect that day. So I'm coming out. I may even donate another ticket to one of you guys on Detroit Different.
Oh, yeah, man. I'll donate some tickets to some of your audience, sure. Man. That's for sure. They locked in. I want to say shout out to those guys at that barbershop. I didn't get a chance to mention the name, but I think it's dope. I would like to see what they doing. Grow. His name Imani Barbershop. Shout out to my man L. Shout out to Zoe, who's over there, the community activist keeping it going. Mm-hmm. Shout out to those guys. I'm proud of you. I was really impressed with what you guys did yesterday. So, Imani's Barbershop on Joy Road, man, it was a dope experience. Mm-hmm. I look forward to seeing it again. If you guys need me, man, I'm there.
That's deep. And that's as we call it, that's the exit 9 Joy Road. That's not the Joy near Claremont, the northwestern Joy Road that I'm working.
Yeah, exit 9.
It's like Joy Road is like a whole nother universe sometimes. It's like the McKenzie Joy Road.
That's the exit 9 Joy Road.
But yeah, I mean, DZ made that. Now
DZ from my hood.
Yeah, I know. It's like everybody that is Joy Road. What did we think it now? So classic Detroit is different questions. Your very first car, year, make, and model, and what year did you get it?
Man, my first car was a 72 Cutlass.
Wow.
I bought it from this lady named Kathy for $200, man. It was raggedy as shit. I want to say I was 15. I bought it. She lived in the neighborhood with me. I bought it. I wound up selling the car later for $500 just because the engine. Just because the engine. Just because the engine was good, but it was terrible, man. I just really bought the car to like go to parties in the neighborhood, but the car was so raggedy we had parked down the street and hop out and walk.
Hilarious.
But it was raggedy as hell.
What was the first place you went when you got it?
I ain't going nowhere in that raggedy motherfucker. We just went. we just waited till like it was a party kind of far that we couldn't, and we just drove it. But it was like a Cutlass with like bench seat, but the seats was all tore up. Damn near like a Tasmanian devil had got in there and ripped out all the seats because all the cotton was everywhere. We would have to put some covers over it. So it was.
Hey, everybody got to start. That's a classic Detroit question. If you're the DJ at the Detroit fireworks, Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 3 songs. What 3 songs you playing?
To get the crowd to go crazy?
It's whatever it's your vibe. You the
DJ.
Man,
this might sound bad, man. It might sound biased. But I'm going to play KDZ.
Okay.
Joy Road, Exit 9, come up off the freeway. I'm going to play that. I think they'll go crazy because I think everybody in Detroit know that record.
Yeah, they do. So that's one.
I'm going to play Steet Lord Jesse James.
Okay.
Dope Man. I think everybody know that.
A lot of people know that too.
A lot of people know that record. Mm-hmm. And then the last record I'm going to play, I roll with my niggas, get high with my niggas,
that's so basically it would be like the how the Super Bowl was Dr. Dre's and Snoop's.
Oh man,
it would be like the Steet Lord fireworks.
But I just feel like
that's gonna be a vision. I wouldn't. Hey. I never thought that Dr. Dre would be doing that at the Super Bowl. So I would not be far-fetched if the NFL draft that's coming here, it'd be like a Steet Lord party. Low-key, you know what? While I'm talking about it, I need to try to...
I don't know.
It may be something that comes to life for that. Like a real...
I don't know.
That affair may be... Oh, man.
I forgot, man. I might play boss up and get this money. I don't know.
Y'all had some hits, man. Y'all.
I mean, I think.
And y'all would. It would be. I see like a sea of as like how I used to always remember y'all. I see a sea of sleeveless chinchillas.
Yeah,
real.
Yeah,
real frames, as they say.
Those be the records I would play right now. You know?
Okay.
I mean,
and if you had to rename what we're after one Detroiter, who would it be and why?
Man, right now I name it after Blade Icewood. You know, I think he's left a legacy on the city. Like,
I mean, really, he's left an international. I don't know if y'all hear it, but I hear it. Like when I listen to, like, a lot of the West Coast guys, especially like Problem, Perico.
Yeah, I listen to those guys.
Jay Worthy. It's like I hear so much of y'all influence where it's like they may not be saying they listening to the Street Lords, but they have to be listening to the Street Lords.
They give us shout outs, man, because like Problem got a record where he like redid some Blaze stuff and. Filthy Rich, you know, he rocks with us. He gives a shout out. So it's all love to the West Coast rap, the Bay Area. You know, we started that Bay Area connection with the Street Lords, E40, Be Legit. Shout out those guys, Max Shine. You know, we did records with the Dog Pound, Daz, you know what I'm saying? So it was, that bridge is there. And the newer up and coming rappers have kept it going from Payroll to Sada to Peasy, to Vezo. They've all, you know, it's evolving, you know. So it's dope. It's a great thing to see Detroit rap where it is today, and to see the younger generation from 4-2 Dugs to Babyface to Peasy, Payroll, Sada, Vez, to see them all doing their thing. Like that's dope. That's an inspiring GT to see all those guys creating a wave and creating a life where their kids gonna be able to eat, and for those guys not to have to do no hustling. I think that's super dope.
And I mean, you keeping that going too by you got Sada in the film. It's like you're and Payroll. It's like you're throwing out other platforms for them to connect with too, which is like I'm telling you. Like I know you're not accepting. You like LeBron that's still in the game. Like yo, nah, I'm about to bust your ass. It's like you ain't LeBron. Like hey, don't be giving me no flowers, Ja Morant. You about to get this 40 dropped on you right now. But you still are like LeBron and Ja, and because those guys.
Yeah, like on the soundtrack, I got record with Babyface Ray, got record with Sada, I got records with Street Lord One, you know, a lot of records, Payroll, a lot of Detroit artists, up and coming artists. So yeah, I still been working, you know what I'm saying? But it's now I just kind of put it on them a different way, you know what I'm saying?
And you still giving them a platform, and that's what Detroit is Different all is about. So that's powerful. Make sure you check this out. Thank you so much. This was way doper than I was thinking. Like you gave so much other game, as he said it best. Put in the work. Put in the work. For all y'all entrepreneurs, as everybody says, as you say, everybody says they want to be a success. Right now, the gateway to success in most people's minds is entrepreneurship. You heard the man. Got to put in the work, and he's put in the work big time, money, time, effort, and letting that creativity pay off now. And let's stay connected to that creativity.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Peace.
Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.